Hello, this is Carlene LeMay with C2 Accounting, and this week we are here to talk about knowing your numbers as a small business owner. I want to tell a story. So many of us know of a situation where there's someone who was in business for a few years and they were sailing along, things were going fine, and then all of a sudden the business had closed. What happened? And then usually when you talk to these former business owners, there are a few themes that are kind of reoccurring. One, the most obvious one could be that just the sales weren't there. They misread the market, it was a bad timing, or whatever. That's something that you really can't control. Another reason could be that their revenue was there, but their expenses were outpacing those revenues. And that's something that you as a small business owner can control. Knowing your numbers can help you to control those expenses. The third, unfortunately, a too common reason that some of these businesses fail is because they got in trouble with the IRS or the state tax division. So it could be they fail to remit payroll taxes. It could be that they fail to remit sales taxes. It could be that they were a single member LLC or a sole proprietor and they failed to put aside their self-employment taxes. And that caused them to get into a hole that they just could not dig out of. So why am I telling you this story? As a small business owner, it is imperative that you know your numbers. It is imperative that you understand the back end of your business because it's going to drive growth, but it also can become what's going to cause the business to fail in the long run. So you don't really, have to be an accounting expert or a tax expert to figure this out, but you can just evaluate your business in simple ways. So I'm going to say something that's going to sound a little strange, but say it with me. Numbers are sexy. And it sounds weird to say that, but if you're a business owner and you're passionate about your business, you need to be just as passionate about the back end as you are for, going out there and making those sales and meeting people and trying to promote your product, because at the end of the day you have to have the back end under control or your business will not succeed. So there's a few quick little areas that you should know about. These are some of the most important ones, and I'm going to name them first. Cash flow, net income, profit and loss, sales, and gross margin. So these are some quick little areas that you need to know and understand if you want to have a good control over your business. So cash flow, basically very simple, money in and money out. But here's the problem. A lot of people are financing their businesses with credit. So even though if you're borrowing from a loan, if you're borrowing from family members, if you are using credit cards to fund your business, that is actually not necessarily cash flow because it's not recurring revenue that's coming into the business. So you need to understand, can your business survive without that injection of credit? So cash flow being cash out, cash in, I'm sorry, so that'd be sales. If you're doing invoicing, that will be also your collections that you're having come in, and then your expenses going out. It could be rent, it could be inventory, it could be payroll. There's quite a few things, but what you want to know is, can my business sustain itself if I never got another loan, if I never took out, put anything else on the credit card, because it can be deceiving if you're using credit to float the business. Net income. That was number two, very closely related to cash flow. At the end of the day, is the business profitable? Are your revenues outpacing your expenses? And not only just your expenses, but also that ties into your gross margin. So how much is it costing for you to actually produce or perform whatever service it is that you do? So for example, me as an accountant, I actually have expenses associated with providing the services that I have for my clients. QuickBooks, for example, a lot of my clients that I have bundled their QuickBooks package into their monthly fees, I have to pay into it for that. So that's a cost of goods for me. A lot of the software that I use to perform a lot of the services that I offer, a lot of the analysis that we do, all of that is a cost of goods for me. If you are a chiropractor, for example, and you have to purchase disposable things on a monthly basis to perform your services, that's a cost of goods. If you have software that you have to pay a monthly subscription for, again, if you're physically building something, how much does it cost to get all of those pieces together to prepare that product that you're selling? Is it profitable? So that's where your net income as well as your gross margin comes in. And net income is pretty much very similar to your profit and loss. A lot of times those two terms are interchangeable. So is your business profitable without, again, any sort of infusion in cash? And can it sustain itself over the long run? The problem with a lot of small businesses that fail is that they wait to the last minute. They don't get help before it's too late. So if you are in business now and things are going along, you think things are doing well, but if I asked you, what are your sales like? What is your net income for the month? For what is your net income for the week? How much does it cost for you to actually perform the services that you do? If you don't have those answers readily available, then you really don't know your numbers, and you really don't know how your business is doing, and you don't have your hand on the pulse of your business. So I always say, thank you, Jessica. I always say that you have to get in there and actually dig into the back end. Now, the good thing is you don't have to do it alone. The good thing is with technology, with accountants, with bookkeepers, there's a team of people and a plethora of tools that can help you to understand your back end and know your numbers. So what is the plan for the future? If you are going to be successful, and by successful, it could mean that you're just going to maintain the growth that you're in now, but you want to be able to keep the business open. Or it could be that you want to grow. What are you doing today to ensure that you will be successful in the long run? Business finances are just as important as your personal finances. So you have to have, and a lot of times I've noticed that people tend to run their business finances very similar to how they run their personal finances. So if you know yourself well enough to know that you're not going to dig into those numbers because you don't do it in your own personal life, then you might want to enlist some help, just because you want to understand what's going on before it's too late. You don't want to get into a point of being complacent and assuming that things are going well, and only to find out that you owe more than you realize that you owe, or that your cash flow isn't what you thought it was. So waiting to the end of the year, like this time of the year when you're doing your taxes, to understand how your business did for the last 12 months is not a good way of running your business. You need to have that information at least on a monthly basis, if not more frequently, depending on the size of your business. So this was a really, quick overview about knowing your numbers. We're going to probably do a blog post about this and then put a link to it later on. But I just wanted to get in here and make sure that if you are a small business owner and you don't know your numbers, that it's not as scary as it may seem, and that you can do it. You can take the time to figure it out. And then, of course, there's help. So if you want to talk to us here at C2 Accounting to see how we can be part of the solution, how we can help you to understand the back end of your numbers, feel free to give us a call. Feel free to send us an email. Feel free to reach out to us on our website. But we are here. This is what we do. And we'd love to sit down and talk with you. We offer a free, no obligation consultation just to understand where you and your business are and to see if we will be a good fit for working together. So again, this is Carlene LeMay with C2 Accounting, and this week we were talking about knowing your numbers, and we'll be back next week for another edition of Tuesday Tips.